My name is Corey Grandstaff.
Bailey Sandwich.
Jessica Stolley.
Jackie Proctor.
On our trip, we went to Nashville, Tennessee, and Memphis, and went to Little Rock, Arkansas, Birmingham, and Montgomery, Alabama, and Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, one evening when we went to the supermarket, Tom, who was a part of our group, found a gecko and decided that he wanted to keep it because he was going to try to bring it back to Indiana. And so he looked for a plastic container when we went inside of the supermarket. He put the gecko in the container and brought it on the van with him, but unfortunately it died.
Let's see, the Little Rock Nine. We learned a lot about Martin Luther King, the Montgomery bus boycotts, the Freedom Rides, the bombing at the 16th Street Baptist Church, a lot of different things.
Well, one of the people that we met, probably one of my favorites, was we met Minnie Jean Brown, who's one of the Little Rock Nine, who helped to desegregate the school in Little Rock, Arkansas. And it was just really cool to get her perspective and to really talk to someone who was part of the history that we learned about, and it made it real. And
we also met Joanne Bland, who was, as a child, was a part of the Selma to Montgomery march. She really stuck out to me because you could just see the pain and the hurt that is still a part of her life today.
Some of the things that, as Christians, we justify with the Bible, things such as slavery and the separation of black and white.
The thing that God really challenged me with throughout the whole trip was just to take on a perspective that's different than my own. So they were forced to teach their kids that they were inferior. But I realized that in the very recent past, you know, there were laws and there were things that happened that were just horrible, and that were really pitting one ethnicity against another.
The biggest thing for me was that he kind of showed me, you know, helped me with my stepping outside of my box, because I did grow up in a predominantly white area and go to school at a predominantly white school. Going down to the places that we went were really good for me, just helping me to realize that, you know, everyone is equal.
Before the trip, I just never really even thought about it, but when I was on the trip, it kind of brought it out in me, and I think it did in other people too, that that they had prejudices that they didn't even realize that they had had before. And so God challenged me just to let go of that and just to love them and just to listen to their stories.
One reason we should care is because this wasn't that long ago. The events that we saw, that we heard about, that we learned about on this trip, at most occurred only 50 years ago. But there's still racism that exists in our country, and that's something that, as Christians, we need to really be fighting for, is equality.
I've never been a huge history person, but I think that going and visiting, it does show us that we should care. And hearing the things that the speakers had to say, the way that they were afraid to even be in America now and to be around white people because of the way that they were treated, really impacted me. And I think that's something that, as Grace students and just anybody, we need to be aware of.
As God made us each unique, and we all are made in His image, and I think that we need to love people as He loved us, and be willing to reach out to people like I said, of different ethnicities. And
I think something that Grace should know is that it's still going on today, the racism and people not feeling comfortable. Even one of the Little Rock Nine who we spoke to, Minnie Jean Brown, she told us that she was afraid to, when she crossed outside of the United States line, she immediately felt a sigh of relief. And I think that's sad. I think that we need to work on that if that's something that, you know, we, especially as at Grace, especially if we want to make people feel comfortable and not look at differences. I think that's something that we need to be aware of.
I hope that people can understand that the civil rights movement it's not so far detached from our lives. It didn't happen that long ago, and there are still tensions that go on today. It's something that we need to remember. We need to remember what the people who did sit-ins at lunch counters and who got spit on and beat up and put in jail, and the children that went to jail, and the mothers that were shot. All of this, like, it happened for a reason, and I just hope that we can remember it and not take it for granted now.